Welcome back, everybody. Tonight is kind of like the epitome of doing it dirty. We always talk about just like getting things done, even if it's not perfect. So this podcast, I can't even talk. This podcast might fall into that category because, well, we both already worked all day. We're exhausted. I just picked up our son. He was camping with my sister and her family for a week. So it's been a little bit of a day. I have a headache.
Our house is still a mess from our wood floors getting done.
Oh yeah, we don't. Well, we're at least not living in our camper anymore.
Yeah.
We are living back in the house, but there's no furniture down. We have like a beanbag chair on the floor, and the dog keeps sitting on it.
It's still a little bit of a mess.
Yeah. So, but we committed to getting this podcast out, and we're doing it. Well, and add to that mess, your dad had surgery.
Yep.
And so. For any of you that aren't completely familiar with our story, we're second generation landscapers. Scott's family started the business. We worked there for years and years and years. In the past years, we've transitioned out. We've really been focusing on $1 million landscaper. That's like what we're pouring our heart and soul into. But your dad had to have surgery, so of course, family is family. What do you do when they need help? You show up. So our son actually worked there for 1 week, 2 weeks.
About a week, yeah.
He basically just kind of lived there because they pulverize dirt and do all that. He's 15, so he can drive equipment. So he's been helping out with that. And then you've been helping more on the business side of things.
Yep.
And that really kinds of leads us to what we wanted to talk about today because, I think a couple podcast episodes back, we talked about how, we haven't been there for a few years and things. We were the ones that really held down like that business end of stuff. God bless your dad. He's a great worker. He's
a great foreman. He'll get jobs done.
I know no one that will work as hard as him. Yeah. No one. But the business end has slipped a little, and so there's some bad attitudes there right now. At least one in particular.
Yeah, one more so than others.
Yeah. So today we just kind of wanted to talk about like what do you do when you've got like that bad rotten apple in the group.
Yeah, having that negative Nancy is not the best situation.
Well, they're never pleasant to deal with. Nobody likes it. It's not fun. I've dealt with it in other scenarios as well. Yeah. They can bring everybody down, but...
Yeah, actually, it's causing issues right now because it's causing people not to want to work with them. Productivity is going down. There's issues on the job site because they just don't care. They're just there for a paycheck right now, and it's really just starting to cause problems. And if you listen to our podcast for a while, you probably heard me talk about this. We've dealt with this in the past. I actually had to fire one of my best friends because of the same situation. So I thought it was kind of an interesting topic to talk about because, how we handled it in the past is probably a little bit different than how we're handling it now.
We're a little more mature now.
Well, we are, and we've grown and grown as a business person and just personally in our lives too. So
sure,
we see things a little bit different than what we used to back then. And I don't remember all the details about everything in the past. It's probably been close to 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been at least 15 probably.
But just to kind of recap of what happened, this person was being very negative. Like I said, it was one of my best friends. He actually started.
He actually listens to our podcast though, and he listened to an episode where we talked about it before.
We did.
He knows we totally called him out on this.
Yeah, we're cool, but we're still friends, so it's good. Everything's good.
Everything's fine because I think he knows it too.
He does. He knew. And so basically, this person, like I said, was just kind of doing the same thing we're having right now. Bringing everybody down. Nobody really wanted to work with them, and my father and I just kind of decided that's it. We didn't really. The problem is too, looking back now, we didn't really talk about it to him about the circumstance, and maybe there's something going on in his personal life or something that was causing this. But we didn't really dive into that. We just kind of, that's it, we're done. My dad would yell at him or whatever, get done faster, blah, blah, blah. But at the time, we were just like, all right, this is it. We're cutting our losses. And it was a hard decision because, he's been there.
He had a lot of skills. He brought a lot to the business.
Yeah, he was there for many years, 10 plus years. And, he knew how to run equipment, run the jobs, driver, all that good stuff. But we just decided it was just better off to let him go. And that was, like I said, it was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make.
It's hard. I've had to have tough conversations with friends. That's why I tend not to make friends at work anymore. But that's a whole nother podcast. People give me crap for this all the time. I separate, but
yeah, you do more than I do.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we end up letting that person go. And like I said, everything's good now. We're still friends. We still talk, and everything's fine. But looking back now, there's probably more than what we could have done then than we're doing now. But so now same kind of
so
similar
how did you,
circumstances.
like, what'd you start off with? You started off with having a meeting.
With
Didn't you have a meeting
previous
with,
person or the current person?
Yeah, we'll let it go with the previous guy. We let him go. But now, but this time, what are you doing this time around? Like you had a meeting with like the whole crew and everybody.
Yeah, so
and I don't think that's something that took place before.
No, so we like Katie said earlier in the podcast today, things have kind of been slipping down. My dad just kind of, he wasn't staying up to date with the handbook and certain things. So we kind of went and had a meeting with everybody, kind of talk about things and kind of, I wouldn't say a fresh start, but kind of starting off a little bit different than what my father was running things. So we had a meeting with everybody, both landscaping and maintenance. I did 2 different meetings. And we basically talked about how, there's some issues going on. I asked them actually to start thinking about what they are seeing is going wrong in the business. What's dumb around here meetings. We've talked about those on the podcast too.
People like to feel like they have a say.
Yeah.
It's not just we're sitting here like yelling at you.
Yeah, I don't want to come across like you
Especially
need to do this.
There are a lot of good guys there. You've got a lot of really good people.
Those people, this person in particular has been there for, he said, going on 10 years now. So he's been there for a while. So he knows everything that goes on in there. So I was like, start thinking about what's dumb around here. So that's in our next meeting. That's one of the first things we're going to bring up. What's dumb around here? What do you think we can do different? So I kind of want to bring that approach. I don't want to come down on everybody like hammering, you need to do this. To me, it doesn't work that way. It won't.
That was kind of your the South County go-to. That's that's Family Business South County Landscaping. The go-to business model for a lot of years was just yelling at people, and that's common. I know a lot of people do it, but it's if you don't take the time to know better and learn how to do better, you just do what you know, and a lot of people just know yelling. So
and I think you just have to deal with the younger generation a little bit different than
I would say that is correct.
Yeah, somebody that's in their 50s or 60s, they're just different times, and you have to adapt.
Yeah, even us, we're in that mid 40s. Yeah. Like we even kind of grew up with like going into work and just getting your ass chewed sometimes just happened, and we'd shrug it off a little bit or got pretty thick skin. Yes, younger people don't seem that to be as I don't want to use the word receptive. Not that I was receptive to it. I didn't like it. But that was kind of like the norm. You just got thick skin and shrugged it off.
So like I said, we're taking a little bit different approach on this one. So we had the initial meeting, talked about everybody, and I said, I'm going to be coming out, visiting the job site, seeing what's going on. So I went out actually yesterday, day before, whatever it was.
All the days are running together. We talked about doing this dirty. We're tired. We don't know what's going on.
So went out there and visited one of the job sites. And pulled them to the side because I don't like to do it in front. If it's somebody I'm actually going to talk to individually, I want to do it individually, not in front of a group of everybody. So we pulled him aside, started talking to him a little about some things, and one of the things he's upset about was he actually got demoted. He was a foreman or crew leader on the maintenance side. He got demoted down, partially due because his attitude and just his not caring in details kind of getting slipped on job sites, and. So that's part of it, which I understand that, but you have to, he has to look at our side of things and figure out why we do that. There was a reason why we dropped it, lowered demoted him. See, he was also upset because he wants more money, which I get. Everybody wants more money, but I explained to him that when productivity drops, we're not making the profit like we need to, so we can't. I
think
give you.
We were getting your mom. I think there was callbacks were happening and stuff like that, and so that just eats into profits. So we can't pay you more when we're having to put out more.
Yeah. So I explained that to him, and I'm talked about how we're gonna get back to having a bonus system in there. So I was trying to find out
performance based.
Yeah, some bonus or some pluses, I guess, or positive, I should say, and not the negatives in there. So I'm trying to bring out these types of things to him, but he just, every time I was talking to him though, you just get that vibe, but he's just not really listening. It just seems like it's just going over not really over his head, just going in one ear, out the other, I should say.
I think, yeah.
He just, I don't know if he's just done with everything in the business. But I told him I want to have a sit down meeting with him kind of one-on-one at the office and find out a little more details. Cause I didn't want to hold up, the crew and, cause they're trimming stuff. And while I was out there, one of the things I did find is that they're not trimming the shrubs like they should.
Well, you went out and checked on the crews.
Yeah.
Because that's something that had been kind of, getting lax on that too. Haven't been going out and checking on them. So you're like, you took the time to go ahead and go out and check on the maintenance crew to see exactly what and how things are getting done out there. And you weren't super happy with what you saw when you went out there.
No, so on this particular property, they had a lot of tiger eye sumac in these islands as a commercial property. And, after I just got done talking to him about, we have to have, we have to increase our productivity, so we're making more of a profit. So in order to give you a raise, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him, I saw him, he's basically taking hedge trimmers, he is taking hedge trimmers basically to the tiger eye sumac, shearing them off and just rounding them off. They just look like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, like this looks terrible. So I didn't come out and start yelling. I'm like, why did you do it this way? Well, that's just what I was taught. The previous foreman, that's what he showed him, and that's what he's just always done on this property. I'm like, well, that's not the proper technique.
That's not how you do this. Well, this just goes to show that even if you hire somebody, I don't know who his previous foreman was, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll train, I'll show people. It's like, you got to have a little bit of a finger on the pulse of what's going on, because he was just doing what he was shown, but he was shown incorrectly.
Yeah, and so I explained to him, like, okay, well, for one, this is not correct. But two, you trimmed something that shouldn't have been trimmed, and there's probably 100 plus of these tiger eye sumacs.
Now you got a big old fat mess you got to clean up.
Now we spent a lot more time cleaning up than probably what was bid on this job. So I try to explain to him why,
it just added hours to the job that were unnecessary. Those didn't need to get trimmed like that, and now you got to clean it up.
So now, we lowered our productivity on it, so we're not making as much money on that trim job. So I try to explain these types of things so he understands, like, this is the reason.
But that goes back on us. So
well, it does. It does.
Now it's like, okay, now we've got to make sure everybody's getting trained on how to properly trim.
Yep. So, kind of getting a little bit off topic, but for this circumstance, I'm going back to the shop. I'm going to put together a list of like 10 shrubs that we commonly trim around here.
Yeah.
And how to trim them. And they're going to be training us. But
yeah. Well, I think it's relevant because you can't just have a crapitude with him when he was just... He didn't know any better. He legitimately didn't know any better. I think that's the tie-in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I told him it's not, it's not his fault. I was like, it's our fault for not training you properly. So that's on us.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I just never trained on that. Oh, I get it, but here's how we're going to do it.
If that's impacting his raise or not raise bonus and all that, then it's just like this little vicious circle.
It is. So
I can understand his frustration as an employee, because I've been in many employment situations where you get no training, and then it's just real frustrating, especially then if they're like, what's going on? And you're like, I don't know, I'm just making it up because nobody showed me. Okay. So I've had that done. So
well, and I get it. So like I said, I didn't put that in him. I said, it's on us. Here's what we're going to do for the future to correct it. We're going to start putting a different training procedure for that. So yeah, that was one of the things that brought up. Like I said, money was the biggest issue. He started getting on this route that, our family is making so much money off this business and blah, blah, blah.
Well, everybody always thinks that we are obviously eating off golden plates with golden silverware.
I just throw them away when I'm done.
Get a fresh new gold plate the next time. Yeah. The employees always think that. I mean, it's not like your parents are rolling up in a Ferrari.
And we do job costing every single job.
Yeah.
So I say, well, I'll show you some of the numbers that show that we're not making. Because he said, we're making, you guys are making profits. I'm like, well, it's not necessarily true. We're making some.
Well, it's a business. We have to make a profit. Yeah. That's why we're here.
But I'm like,
why we have this.
But we have to make a profit at every single job. Quite a bit of time. But
we have to make our pre-calculated amount of profit at least. Like, we have an amount in mind of what we need to make on this job, and so if we're not making at least that, then they always think that you're just like wads of cash, and that's not necessarily the case.
Then I also explained to him too, especially on the maintenance crew, that those are set contracts at the beginning of the season. We can't go in and just jack up the price because you got a raise. So
if we don't anticipate their raises ahead of time,
then we can't
correct for it.
So, so I explained to them the only way we can kind of get past that is we have to increase our productivity over here to be able to make more of a profit. So I think he kind of understood that, but like again, he's like kind of nodding his head, and I just didn't get that vibe. Like he just didn't. I got the vibe he didn't care. So that was part of the problem. So I told him now, okay, so now we had that conversation. That was 10, 15 minutes. Like I said, I didn't want to hold him up on the job for that much longer. So I said, I want to have a meeting with him. So our next meeting, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be honest with him and tell him, here's what we're seeing, here's what's going on. and we need to do something about.
Did you say you showed him some of the job costing sheets?
I will be showing him. I told him I will be showing him. So
you have to have some level of transparency.
Yeah.
You don't have to show them everything, but I think it's completely pertinent and okay to go ahead and show them a couple job costings. Like, here's what we had budgeted. Here's what you guys did.
I'm all for showing numbers.
Yeah.
We're an open book. You want to see what we're doing, what we're making. I don't care. I'll show you. And this is something actually I was taught from Greg Woodstock from Aquascape. He told me the story, one of the trainings many years ago, and it's always stuck with me how he actually saved one of his main guys.
And you have your Aquascape shirt on. Now this is an Aquascape commercial. What happened? They're not even paying us. Go ahead.
But he said to be open with your people, and this is one of the things he did to help save one of his main guys, Brian, if you're familiar with him.
I remember that.
And it's always stuck with me. So I'm always willing to show people our books, and I think it's very important to show them. Then the numbers don't lie. We're not just holding back from giving you a raise.
Yeah, because we're jerks.
Yeah,
no, there's reason.
We want you to win too. So
yeah.
So yeah, I will definitely show them some of the numbers and show them. We have a sheet that we have in the academy that shows how much money is wasted for 10 minutes of time being wasted every hour or a day or whatever it is.
Oh, we should drop that. We'll drop that in the comments. We've given that out before. It's basically just a spreadsheet where you can look. It's like, okay, if you have 2 employees getting paid $15 an hour and they waste 30 minutes a day, here's how much it's costing your business. And it has all different number combinations of employees and how much they're getting paid. So you can kind of look at that and see, okay, how much time and how much money is that time actually costing?
Yeah. And one of the reasons I want to do that is because one of the things I saw when I was coming back in there was that they're taking a little longer getting out of the shop in the morning. They're taking probably half hour to get out of the shop, and there's no reason to. That should be done faster. Mm-hmm. Some of the guys weren't. I caught them today. They were not filling their trucks up when they get back with fuel and
because they're supposed to fill them up at night.
Yeah,
and I know you had talked about them about that, and they were kind of like, bleh.
Yeah. So this is the second time. So now
they've gotten out of the habit. So it's going to take some consistent, I hate to use the word nagging, but it might take a little bit of nagging to get them back in the habit.
And I try explaining to them, these little things like this is what's causing us to lose a lot of money. And this, the few $1,000s, which I'm going to show them in the spreadsheet, could be part of your raise or your bonus, whatever. But we have to kind of pick up, get out of the shop a little bit quicker. And
gotta get on it. Yep.
So that's what's going to happen in our next meeting. Like I said, I'm trying to be a little more proactive than what we did last time instead of just firing. But, to me at this point, if he still continues the attitude, it may have to lead to termination. And it's difficult because it's hard to find people right now.
Yeah, well, and this is something that I kind of go back and forth on. I've worked with people, because I think it kind of depends, because I have worked with people who just have crappy attitudes because I'm pretty sure that's just their personality.
Yeah.
And so those people I can kind of get past. Like, some people are just kind of grumpy and gripey and complain about everything, but they get their work done. And they're not hurting the business so much. I mean, people kind of don't always want to work with them, but I have learned to get past those people myself, just talking about there's a little bit of personal growth in there. Because you do have to learn to, if you're the one who's actually working with these people, you can't let their bad attitude get to you, because 9 out of 10 times it has nothing to do with you. And even with the bad attitude about the business and the boss and all that, I guarantee there's probably something in their own personal life going on, or it's just how they are. I don't know. Like, I've just really learned that a lot of times when people are grumpy, it's because it really has nothing to do with you. It's just kind of how they're interpreting whatever's going on in their life. So there's oftentimes not too much you can do about it. So
no, but to me there's a certain point that's just not worth it, because misery loves company, and it just kind of brings.
It does, and they can bring down everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of playing a little bit of a devil's advocate, only because it is so hard to find people right now. So I think it's definitely worth investing the time in, if you do have a bad apple right now, to try and fix it. Maybe take some of these. In the past, we'd have been a lot more like, just get rid of them. Yeah. But I think since it is so hard to find people right now, you maybe do have to take these steps of having a meeting with everybody, have a what's done around here, pull them aside, like Scott said, if you need to, and maybe just explain things a little more if that will help.
Because we know this person is a good employee. They had a history of doing very well. That's why they moved up, became a foreman at one point. Something happened to cause them to kind of go back down the opposite direction. And it could be he's done. It could be something at home. It could be something we've done in the business. But we're going to try our best to kind of get down to it. But to me, at a certain point, it's could lead to termination. And I know you and I have kind of talked about this beforehand. You don't think we should maybe not do that because it's so hard. But I kind of feel...
Yeah, like I said, that's where I tend to ride the fence on it, because definitely in the past I was one of those, hire slow, fire fast. Yeah. But because of the work situation right now, I'm a little bit slower on it. I think that steps that you're taking are definitely, but I don't know how to articulate it. It really just depends, because I don't know. Have you ever worked with somebody who's just crabby? Like I have worked with people who are that's just their personality. Yeah. And so if you can learn to just kind of be like, yeah, whatever, just like ignore it and just move on with your day and focus on what's good in your life and what's good in your job, then you can definitely get through it. I don't let other people's attitudes get me down or bother me like they used to. So, and I don't know how to teach that to people. That's just come because I'm getting old now. I really don't let other people's... They're not.
And I've actually kind of dealt with this on the fire department side too, and I've tried to explain to people that are working with coworkers on that you can't let them bring you down.
No.
And maybe you on your end you could be a little more proactive. Like this person that I'm talking about is a higher rank than the other person, and I'm like, maybe you should just kind of, hey, what do we need to do today? Just kind of start the conversation and get moving, and I can't get into details on it, but it's you do have to kind of work with this person. That person's not going away, so you just have to deal with it. But
yeah, well, in the past, I definitely let what other people said or their reactions to what I was doing in the workplace get to me more than I do now.
Yeah.
And part of that comes with being just more confident. Like when I was in my 20s, I wasn't necessarily quite as confident in my skills because, I was still young, didn't have a ton of experience. And so I let what other people said or their reactions get to me a lot more. Now, I mean, I am 25 years in, you can KMA. So, I'm ton more confident in everything that I'm doing. And so even if somebody gets a bad attitude or is like, oh, she doesn't know, just whatever, I can let that it's like water on a duck's back, just rolls right off. So
like I said, we're doing those steps to kind of to remedy the situation and try to figure out. But the other thing too, I think we're going to start, start looking for somebody else. We should always kind of be recruiting.
Yeah, always be looking.
Yeah, and if somebody comes across that could kind of step up, then either bring that person in. Maybe this bad apple will kind of step up, or they might just have to move on. That's just kind of where I'm at this circumstance, and I think that's what we're going to do now.
I think that's all you can do.
Yeah.
I wish there was like cut and dry answers for dealing with employees, especially when you can't find employees and it's and it's so hard right now. I wish there was I wish we could just give you like this golden answer. If I had it, I would share it because I'm cool like that. But there's not. So all we can say is in the past, we maybe didn't handle the bad apples quite as good as we are now. But this time around, there's definitely more communication involved, more transparency with the business involved. And, maybe give them like, okay, well, here, if you guys can bring it up, maybe you can go back to your foreman status. But these are the markers that you're going to have to meet. These are the goals you're going to have to meet if you want to get put back in that role.
And I guess something that kind of makes it a little more difficult for me in particular is I don't know all the circumstances behind why that person got demoted.
Right, because we weren't.
I wasn't there when that happened. At some point I'll talk to my dad about it, but he's not.
Once again, sometimes he'll just be like, "Oh, well, he was being stupid," or there's always what this person said, what this person said, and then what actually happened. Yeah. Will you ever have like the full true story? No, but we'll make the best decisions we can with it from here on out.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah, so hope that helps. It's just kind of a...
If you're having this circumstance in your business right now, put in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys are doing right now, how it's affecting your business.
Yeah, or if you've got some solution that's a little bit better.
We're always
let us
open.
know. But this is the best that we've come up with to kind of work through it.
And I just think...
During these trying times. Sorry, that's what...
Well, and I think right now everybody's kind of getting tired and people are getting burned out because it's been go with this year for at least for most people that I know and for our business. And I know things can get
this time of year to me is always like the burnout. Everybody's tired. Like I'm getting it now. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. I'm tired. No, everybody's tired. Like you said, it's that mid-season kind of like. Ugh.
So I feel it's pretty important to kind of talk about this right now. And so, like I said, I just love to hear what everybody else is doing, how you're handling what's going on, what's causing the issue. So.
Yep, you'll get through it. It'll be all right.
Yep. All right. So I got a couple questions.
Got some interview questions for me. Go.
Would you ever pick up a hitchhiker?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a certain type of person you'd look for, or just? Anybody?
I mean, I wouldn't seek out a hitchhiker, but like especially if somebody like had a dog, I'm kind of a sucker. But I would probably only do it if I was in your truck where they could ride in the back. And I only say this because I have hitchhiked, and I didn't get murdered, and so I wouldn't murder somebody. But I wouldn't like put them like in my van with me. But,
interesting.
Well, because when I did it, I was backpacking with friends, and people offered to take us to the trailhead, so we didn't have to hike. So we could do a longer trip. We could go from point A to point B. We didn't have to go like in and out.
Does your mom know about this?
I don't know that I ever told her this. I probably won't tell her this.
All right. Have you ever had this can't be happening moment? And what was it?
But I have, but never in a good way. Only we have a son who had to be choppered to a different hospital when he was very young, and that was one of those moments. I don't like to talk about it because it'll make me cry. But
gotcha.
I've never had one of those like not like I won $1 million or anything. If that's what you were getting at,
I wish you did. I wish you showed.
Do you have? Are you going to surprise me with something? That would be great. Is it happening it now?
All right, last one. Would you rather be able to erase people's memory or predict their future?
Predict the future.
Yeah, predict their future?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Why is that?
Well, I'm an eternal optimist, and I am generally always excited about the future. And I don't know, your past kind of defines you and makes you who you are. So unless something really horrible and traumatic happened, I don't know why you would want to erase your past, because it's the little building blocks that made you who you are, good and bad. So.
Very true.
All right. Those were good questions. Sometimes you ask me weird ones I don't know how to answer. So, all right. No, I think that's all we've got for today. Questions answered. Hopefully your employees are doing all right.
Yep.
We'll get through it all. We'll all do it a little dirty. Sorry if this. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel so bad. Maybe I forget that. Well, I guess if they're watching the video, they can see us. We're like sweaty and dirty. It's a good thing this isn't smell-o-vision because we're disgusting. So.
But no, we'll put that link in the show notes for the download for that spreadsheet.
Wasting time.
Yep, it's a good spreadsheet to kind of show your team.
Share that with your employees.
Yep, and if you want more great information like that, definitely check out the Millionaire Academy. We've got a lot of great stuff in there.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of good little tidbits in there that can just help make things clearer when you're trying to work with your employees.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.